So it is super special, yeah. And I hope people realise, I mean, it seems like they do, but like every time we cut in, and I'm still amazed. Like, I just love it. Like every time you cut in and you just see that marbling, like it's just so special.
This is The Crackling. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Well, it's always a pleasure to be in the kitchen of an artisan, and today, Damon Porter from Saison. Mate, we're in your kitchen. Yeah. How are you?
Welcome.
Thanks,
good to have
mate.
you guys here, yeah.
It's great to be here. Tell us a little bit about Saison and what you're doing.
So Saison started with, I was running a small bistro that we obviously got all whole beasts in, not just the pigs, but wild animals. I mean, because in the hinterland where you just come from, like it's so abundant with those products. So like we get chital, we get fallow, like beautiful deer, like all really young, yeah, and it's a shame. I mean, we should use more of it because otherwise they just go and cull it and it goes to waste. Because it is a pest. But it's beautiful work with. Also, of course, whole pigs. So, started the bistro. We'd use all the primary cuts through the wood-fired oven, and then all the secondary cuts we had to find a home. So, I worked in the south of France for a couple of years and learnt curing techniques there. It's always been a passion of mine, but it definitely went to the next level over there, which was great. So, you're learning to use all these secondary cuts, and you sort of realise where all this produce comes from, like your Boudin Noir, your prosciuttos.
Yeah, of course.
Like, everything on that pig has a home. Yeah. And that's my favourite thing. And you don't sort of realise that until you start to break down the whole animal yourself. Yeah. It's easy to get things in a packet and do things with of primals, but taking it to the next step with whole beasts, it's a challenge, but it's really fun.
Tell us about that transition that you made when you fully stepped away from chefing and jumped into Saison. Do you have any stories of what it was like getting it up and running?
I mean, obviously you're already working a lot when you're a chef, and then so you get back from a function or something, and then you end up piping a batch of salami till 1 or 2 a.m. and get up the next day and do it again. I mean, it is what it is, and then obviously that's not forever. We knew we had something special, like our products would receive really well. I mean, we're using age-old techniques, but having a bit of fun with it because they're the products that I wanted as a chef. And there's not much out there. There's a lot of traditional stuff. I just wanted to have a play with it, and it's been really well received. So,
was there any early on really big successes with the small goods that you make? Like, was there a hero small good that sort of made you think, I've really got a hold of something special here?
We did so much experimenting at this bistro because, I mean, you get secondary cuts every week. There's 4 shoulders, 4 legs that you have to use. Yeah. So we had a bit of fun with it. Some were excellent and some were really shit. I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah. But, I mean, until you make it, until you try it, you don't know. But we basically took about the best 10 to 12 items that we did from there and then decided to wholesale that from there. And, I mean, it's so much busier than I even imagined so quickly. Yeah, I really didn't think we'd be in our own premises, doing hams, doing all the small goods. It's with 3 drying rooms. It's huge.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge here.
So we're at the whole East Coast now, from Tasmania all the way up to Cairns.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your pork program. You get, do you have relationships with farmers? Like, how do you get pigs in, and what do you use them for?
So at the start, I used to share with Ben Williamson. Like, he would get the pigs from Vaughan, and I would take the secondary cuts, and he would use the primals. But it's just really hard, I guess, because we were so young and they were just starting out as well. It's really hard to balance that. Yeah. And I always imagined we'd go in to do whole pigs, but the reality of it, to complete the circle, the chefs want the primary cuts and I want the secondary cuts. So I really do leave it up to, I work really closely with Gura Lee. They're incredible. They have their own breed. The pigs are excellent. Yeah. I really love it. And I love that they're family operated, a family farm, really. Yeah. And so I sort of let them do that part of it where I do take the secondary cuts and the fat, and then it means that the chefs can take their primals at a better price. Yeah. It just it completes that sort of circle.
Well, tell us a bit about those secondary cuts. Like what cuts are used for what, and what are you making here with pork?
We tend to go for the collar, shoulder, cheek.
Yeah.
So really gelatinous, fatty and flavorful. Yeah. So, I mean, they take a lot of work, especially the cheek. Like, it's a bit almost silly to put 100% cheek in the salami because there's so much connective tissue.
Right.
But once you work it properly, you take all that out. I mean, you're left with a beautiful salami. Like, you hand cut it after that, and then you actually see the marbling flickering through it when you cut into the salami.
Amazing.
So it is super special. Yeah. And I hope people realise. I mean, it seems like they do, but like every time we cut in, and I'm still amazed. Like, I just love it. Like every time you cut in and you just see that marbling, like it's just so special. Yeah, it's good fun. But yeah, shoulder because it's delicious and fatty. Collar for the same reason, and cheek.
Yeah.
To replace the back fat sometimes, yeah.
Tell us about some of the products that you're making. There's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But just run through some of them for us to give us an idea of the scale of sort of what you're doing.
I guess some of the newer products we do, the two newer ones is the Korean chili salami. So it's really similar to a suppressor base. So garlic. And where you would put the chili, we put the Korean chili.
Yeah, right.
And then, so inside it as well, with lots of pepper, lots of garlic and whole peppercorns, and then coat the whole outside with the Korean chili.
Wow.
And so that's aged in organic linen cloth and cotton casings. So it's a little bit different. I haven't seen anyone do it here, but it is an old school technique that they do in Italy, to sew up. I mean, it's beautiful using the whole animal, using the natural bungs like we do with the other one, but just for something different to get these massive ribbons and really showcasing the knife cuts that go into the fat, the cheek and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It really shows what's gone into that salami, and you get a beautiful big ribbon. Yeah, it's really special.
There must be some real challenges in what you do, because you've been a chef before and you can cook something and the result is there immediately. Oh. But there's time involved in this.
Learning to be patient is the hardest thing.
What's some of the important things in making great charcuterie?
Important things, patient probably, yeah. I mean, it's exactly like doing a train, except it takes 3 months in between batches. Yeah. So it's almost like scientific. You need to write everything down, because otherwise you'll forget. 3 months later, you won't know. And you go, how did we do this again? Why was this one so fucking good? Oh, that's right. It's because we did it this way this time. Yeah. So, and then that's true. Like, it's 100%.
Yeah. And
we've got to keep notes.
How do you control, its temperature and things like that? Like, how vital are they to the outcome? And is it different for different things that you're making as well?
Most of them we keep around the same size, so it can go in the same conditions.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would be a huge challenge for us. So as much as I'd like to do some small saucisson sacks or charcutier or something like that, it doesn't fit in yet, but we are working on it. But as far as temperature goes, I mean, I like to... When you change environments, it takes a good 6 months again to realise how it works.
Yeah.
And unless you're throwing millions of dollars at it, you sort of just got to play around with it and know where your fermenting rooms sit. So, like, sometimes in the summer we'll have to have dehumidifiers in there just because it's 100% humidity out there. And, like, fermenting salami in Queensland is not really a smart thing to do. But we make it happen. So, like... I work really closely with our fridgies, but temperature-wise between 10 and 15 degrees, but more so humidity is the biggest thing.
Coming in here, it's hard not to notice the aroma from the smoker over there. Tell us about what you use that for.
So they're hams, traditional hams. So they're immersion brined. They take 5 days to brine, and then they're hung up, smoked with real wood. They take about 12 to 15 hours to cook, depending on the size. And we've had some fun with the brine in the past. Like, we've done basically like a ramen broth, like a tonkotsu broth, and injected it in there, just with heaps of kombu, soy, and it was delicious. It's fucking delicious. But then what it came back to, I actually liaised with one of my admirers I admire him in Italy, and I said, so tell me about what you're looking for in a really good prosciutto cotto. Like, I know Aussies do it differently, but what do you want, and what do you do to get the best product that you're looking for? Because the ham was a new thing to me. You think it's such a simple thing because it's such an everyday item, but it's not. I mean, like anything, like the simplest things are sometimes some of the hardest. But now, most of the time, we have a little homebrew keg actually that has the element in it that's our brine tub. So we throw all the spices and everything, like depending on the season, like whole bunches of French tarragon, thyme, rosemary, a bit of our pastrami spice, and then just whole cut garlic, carrot, onions, because his name's Luigi. He said it has to smell like a minestrone soup, that brine, because it is, that's the start of the show. I was like, okay, cool.
Wow.
So we started with that, and then and immersion brines and tumbled and then smoked over real wood, and it's incredible.
Did the skills that you obtained as a chef, have they transferred into sort of the world that you're in now? Do you think there's been a benefit?
100%.
Yeah.
Like, a chef always looks at things differently. So, like, the temperatures of cooking are all exactly the same. You know how to marry the flavours, which means when you know all that basics, it means you can have fun with it and change it. But I think that's why we sort of do a few different stuff, because we are chefs and we're always pushing the boundaries, and we always want those new flavour profiles and just have a bit of fun with it. So,
for anyone sort of young out there or just looking to get into this kind of thing, what sort of advice would you have for them if they were going to step into the world of charcuterie?
I mean, I started with all the cook stuff. Not because it was the best place to start, but I guess just because it was a passion of mine at the time. Like those French-style terrines, pâtés. I mean, that's a perfect springboard before you go to the next step. Some of your air-dried stuff. Air-dried duck breast, super simple but super rewarding. And then from there, you can sort of move up. When you're really confident with that, move up to the fermenting. I mean, you just got to give it a go. Yeah. You're going to make mistakes, and that's normal, but just give it a crack.
You've created an incredible brand that's all the way up and down the East Coast, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
What do you love about what you do?
My favourite way of eating is having the big spread, on the table. Sourdoughs, salamis, pickles, the French terrines. And I love the process all along the way. And I'm not a patient person, so I'm really surprised that that I did get into this side of it. But I mean, me just shaving up those meats and sharing it with the people and having the rapport with the chefs that are buying it, I think that's the biggest thing for me. I love that. Like the last bistro that I was running, like the pass was literally, there was tables right opposite the pass. And then, so I was chatting to customers all night. They'd come over, they'd say g'day, I'd shave them up some meat, or I'd give them some of the cheese that we've made, or talk to them about cultured butter. And having that rapport with people, that's what I love about it. That's the thing that's close to my heart, as well as, playing with the flavours. But I didn't realise how huge that was until I started at that restaurant. And yeah, like I said, now working with the chefs and seeing them tag my products, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's amazing for us to be privy to your world and step into the kitchen with you today. It's been an absolute honour, Damon.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
This is The Crackling, a Deep in the Weeds production in partnership with PorkStar. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we catch up with some of Australia's best chefs and pork producers to discover what makes Australian pork so special.